2 million years ago, we captured heat. Cooking triggered a biological pivot, fueling a physical expansion of the brain that rewrote our species' limits. That expansion ignited an obsession to fracture stone into blades, and to harness the physics of rotation, and to construct permanent arches across the Earth. On a cosmic timescale, the distance between striking a hand axe and breaking the gravitational pull of our home planet is effectively zero. We accomplished in a geological blink what natural selection requires eons to test. This is the definitive chronicle of human technology. We are tracking a singular trajectory, the story of a species that learned to bend the universe to its will, and is now waking up to discover that same force is bending us back. The instinct to conquer distance drove the first massive leaps in global logistics. Empires realized that moving resources faster than their rivals was the key to total domination. By the 4th millennium BCE, we had already carved a 2,000-kilometer artery across the cradle of civilization, the first proof that geography could be conquered. But physical goods were slow. When we mechanized language, we shattered institutional monopolies on information, triggering a compounding loop of discovery. We learned to trap atmospheric pressure to replace human muscle. We engineered personal, mechanized transport across the Earth, and hurled cold metal into the vacuum of orbit. Then the architecture of power shifted. We stopped relying solely on roaring iron turbines and began manipulating the silent, invisible flow of electrons. The first attempts to calculate this logic mechanically required vast matrices of hardware that spanned entire rooms. The exact same relentless engineering instinct that allowed us to conquer our environment with flint and flame has now turned inward. We are actively rewriting the biological code of life. We are preparing to manufacture and deploy machinery at the molecular scale. By seizing control of our genetic destiny, we are forcing an evolution without natural precedent. When we begin editing the internal code of the species, we challenge the very definition of what it means to be human. And as the system accelerates, those displaced by the machinery violently retaliate against the grid itself. We are approaching a threshold. There is a statistical probability that a civilization will engineer a tool so potent it triggers its own default collapse. We have already left our physical footprints on dead worlds. Now we face the true event horizon, the birth of an artificial superintelligence, an entity capable of driving change at a pace entirely beyond our cognitive limit to control. Look closely at the rock we fractured and the intelligence we are about to switch on. This is the final unresolved paradox of our timeline. We must determine if we are painstakingly engineering a post-scarcity utopia, or if we have spent the last 2 million years perfectly designing our own absolute obsolescence. Explore the history of technology to understand what we have built before we cross the line we can never uncross.